You are being actively prepared by your spirit team to enter the portal of a new and exciting chapter for yourself as far as romance is concerned. And with this energy of the dusky pink dragon from Andromeda, which prepares all of your chakras to embody higher love, it feels like you are coming to the end of a period of catharsis, of shedding. You have moved through a density of layers that anchored you into a previous timeline where the idea of love and romance, for the most part, held a lot of kind of karmic energies for that. You successfully passed tests that your soul had set in place for you, like imprinted within your soul blueprint prior to this incarnation, to prepare you, not to thwart you or frustrate you or cause you any suffering. That if you were able to jump through these hoops that you put forth for yourself, certain people you were appointed to meet along your path, choices that either would have set you back along your journey or propelled you forward. You've passed all those tests that you set forth for yourself with flying colors, and it has now brought you into this place of you have created sufficient kind of like stillness or detachment in some way from the energies, the versions of yourself that were anchored into those lower timelines, where now you are able to experience not just that reset, but an upgrade, an up leveling in some sort of way. Your higher heart chakra, your heart chakra in general, but higher heart chakra is coming through very specifically here, is a center within you that will be activated. And unlike the heart chakra, which is a receptive center, that higher heart is a projective center, within that kind of greater chakra tree. And so through the activation of that, through the balancing of that, through that coming online in a more dominant way in terms of your energetic body, your energetic field, it feels like you're projecting out a very specific, refined, high frequency to the environments around you or places that you seek out romance within, or that you are just moving through as part of your day-to-day reality, that is going to pinpoint for you certain hidden pathways that it feels like intuitively, impulsively, instinctively you're going to be drawn to kind of explore in different directions and new directions. You may find yourself in circumstances through, serendipity or following the synchronicities, often to kind of, different sort of experiences for yourself. And this is going to put you in alignment with circumstances where you're really going to be able to see that kind of like all of this heavy lifting that you've done so far, it didn't just refine a wisdom within you or kind of like tune your discernment in some sort of way, but it's almost like you're radiating the essence of like a fearless level of self-love that's going to allow you to make better choices and also have a better sort of visioning in terms of the idea of right place, right time, and what that might mean for you on an evolving basis, on a more expansive basis, in order to align with experiences as far as romance and partnership, or the potential for that, that are more rewarding for you, that are more in keeping with this kind of higher echelon that you have raised yourself up into. That when you first incarnated in this lifetime, it's like your soul didn't know for sure if you'd pass these tests, if you'd ever make it this far, but you did. And so there's a whole new series of experiences, incentive, rewards, as far as past life connections are concerned. It feels like new soul contracts are kind of like coming online, dormant soulmates that may be activated along their particular paths to navigate their own life journey to the place where there's the potential to intersect with you. People that you weren't necessarily supposed to meet in this lifetime, but it's almost like they were the understudy, to bring out like a reference from theater, sort of like the main characters, the main people that you were meant to sort of encounter on that karmic basis, that you may or may not have continued forth with. Those people may or may not have, caused you to sort of shut off your heart or descend into more of a lower vibrational energy, but you didn't do that. And so now the understudies come forth. these energies of these people that there was no guarantee you were going to encounter them, but because they've had to be kind of like called up in the ranks, they've been kind of brought out of this sort of reserve position and they've activated to come to the forefront of your narrative as you are the main character moving forth in this story of love that you are writing every day for yourself through your choices. That this is something that it's going to be a new sort of series of experiences. Yeah, you're going to be encountering and meeting people that are fresh to you in this lifetime, but it feels like, again, this is sort of like different sorts of soul contracts, different sorts of past life love connections that aren't just the repeat of the cycles that you work so hard to break yourself free from, or to heal the wounds inside yourself that might have, necessitated or caused you to kind of gravitate in particular directions. But this is almost kind of like a new series of conditions, a new series of variables, a new series of people where it's going to feel very familiar when you connect with these individuals, but at the same time very fresh and very exciting, because it's almost like a point of celebration that may be sort of acknowledged between you and these people. It feels like on a subtle level of like, I wasn't guaranteed to kind of make it to this place in terms of my romantic journey in this incarnation, and yet here I am, and so we have this opportunity to connect with one another. We also have the blue dragon from the Pleiades, prepares you to accept source healing. So that energy of the source healing, it feels to be like a higher quality of experience of romance, love, partnership, relationships, dating than you've had in a while, or certainly like overall up to this point in your journey. This is something that there is a healing power of that loving exchange. You've raised your vibration, and so like attracts like. It is a corresponding frequency that now that higher heart chakra, as it's sending out this very like unique signal that's kind of puncturing through the density of whatever the general kind of vibe you were putting off before was, that was attracting in a certain kind of like caliber of person, a certain type of individual, or again, very specific souls that you had like a past life arrangement with, karma you had to work through, or people that even kind of like, they might have been sort of negative experiences for you in this lifetime, but prior to this incarnation, you'd both agreed like, hey, I'm going to need somebody to kind of present themselves as a lesson, a hoop that I'm going to have to jump through. And it's my choice, kind of what I do with that experience. And some of these souls might have been like, yeah, okay, I owe you one, so I'll show up. I'll do my best to kind of give you the runaround. I'll do my best to do my worst. And good luck to you. Hopefully you are able to kind of like jump through this hoop. Wish the best for you, even if that's not how these people kind of manifested in your material reality or 3D experience. On the soul level, that was the contract beforehand. And you've successfully walked through fire. You've jumped through that hoop. You've navigated around that disappointment. And it has concluded those contracts with those individuals. And it has also rendered a different version of yourself in the here and now that is equipped to receive a different kind of experience, redefining the way in which you might even think about past life connections. You may be at a point where you've encountered plenty of past life soulmates, and they all just were sort of like, this was kind of the end of the road. This was like a negative experience. I'm not interested in past life anything anymore. I'm just sort of here and now. And that's great. That's the right vibration and mindset you're supposed to be in, to have these other kind of experiences. People that you made a contract with prior to coming into this incarnation, that it was like, okay, the odds are stacked against you, but if you make it this far, I can promise you that I'll be providing a different sort of experience, or the potential of that. It's a different kind of hoop to jump through than whatever you had been dealing with those other people that were, kind of the gauntlets that you had to cross, that were the rites of passage, that were the harsh lessons or the difficult experiences that created sort of the landscape you would navigate upon to come to this like maybe sort of point of maybe we'll see each other in this lifetime, and if not, a future lifetime is where kind of a more beautiful experience of romance and partnership is scheduled. Those are those understudies that have now been activated. So when you encounter these people again, it's like receiving a higher quality of experience. Like they'll show up in a different way, the vibe will be different, you will respond different to them. All of it kind of will reinforce the fact that you've gone through this rite of passage, this metamorphosis. You have completed certain things that your soul set out to complete, that it was kind of almost maybe statistically impossible, or the odds were stacked against you, but you did it. You're still alive. You got plenty of love to live. you know, plenty of life to live, plenty of love to experience. And so this is something where it's like you're getting ready to kind of like live a more beautiful loving experience, a more beautiful kind of exchange with other souls, because it comes with that energy of accomplishment, what you've accomplished in terms of the ways in which you've elevated beyond sort of what were inevitabilities within your soul contract, and into this place of like, you know, you weren't guaranteed to sort of get this far in terms of your emotional journey, in terms of this up leveling, in terms of this like upgraded energy. So the biggest thing is kind of receiving these new energies, receiving this kind of like new timeline for yourself. We also have Pure White Dragon from Orion, transforms your ascension knowledge into pure wisdom. So for a lot of you, you are going to encounter someone that is going to truly show you what love is. And it's going to help you to understand that experiences you've had in the past that might have been masquerading as love, or there were like emotions exchanged, that was not love in a deep, almost like a sacred sense. This is something where this is the territory of the higher realm soulmate, you know, the higher level soul connection that you are in at this particular point in time. You've gained access to this place through your hard work, through those kind of like times where you only had yourself to kind of lift up, where you had to just learn to accept things, you had to detach, you had to walk forth with love. You had to love yourself enough to walk away from certain things. And so all of that again is like calling it a very high frequency to you. You're going to redefine the nature of kind of what partnership can mean, what loving experiences can mean, what connectivity can mean. For a lot of you, again, this is something that kind of washes away the bad taste you may have in your mouth at the idea or the utterance of the idea of like a past life connection. Yeah, those other people, those other circumstances, they served a purpose that was mostly sort of, you know, rising up beyond suffering in some capacity, but that's not all that a past life connection is meant to kind of generate or kind of teach us. And so you've now entered this realm where there is a new kind of experience coming towards you. Love is about to take on a new meaning, a fuller meaning, a more multi-dimensional meaning, something that is more reciprocal, that is more healthy, that is more aligned, you know, that has greater potential for longevity than people you had dealt with in the past. And all of this is something that it feels like you're ready for. You've been preparing for this moment for lifetimes. This is the role of the lifetime, to be loved, to step into that archetype of the lover, and for it to take on kind of like new meaning, because you have not only been preparing for lifetimes for this moment, but you have far exceeded the expectations that even your own soul had for kind of like, okay, these are the conditions, these are the circumstances, this is the time in human history, or kind of, you know, Earth's evolution, that this feat of kind of like climbing into this higher echelon of self in order to be able to align with higher level love, that this is going to be the undertaking. And you did it, and you're surprising your own soul. You're probably surprising yourself. Your spirit team, it feels like, is speechless at this particular point in time. You're definitely somebody that, as far as like even your ancestors, your spirit guides, your angels, your higher self, are like in amazement. You know, you're somebody that has like broken a record in some sort of way. You've got this unbeatable record now. You have set the standard very high for other kind of spiritual beings, or, you know, other consciousnesses that intend to incarnate. They're looking towards you as like, hey, you were able to do something like this given the conditions and the circumstances. It'll be different for everyone, so it kind of like raises the morale of others, like, okay, let's up the ante. You know, the bar has been raised now thanks to you. So not only is this something that you may be kind of an inspiration to people in your material 3D life who have seen you go through a process of change and up leveling and evolution, but certainly in the subtle realms you have served as an inspiration, a living inspiration to your spirit team. And with that, it feels like even more inspiring is going to be this experience in real time, in the 3D sense of this higher experience of love, that it feels like, again, it's really going to surprise you, the ways in which you had certain understandings of what love is or is not before, and what you're about to kind of step into, the season of your life that begins now, effectively, where that idea of love is redefined for you in the best possible way. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.